Alright, hello everyone, welcome to the stream. Today we will continue on our journey to make a game. So yesterday, or last time, yesterday I didn't stream. Last time we worked on the player animation, so as you can see the sprites are animated now. I implemented the landing and turning animations and this simple particle system. It's not finished yet, so as you can see we're just spawning white quads currently that are not textured, even though alpha blending is working. I think I'm gonna start by texturing the particle systems, the particles that we spawn, and then we're gonna see where it takes us, I'd say. Let's see. I already have a texture for the particles. This right here. It's an animated dust particle, I'd say. It has 4 frames. We're gonna load this. So, game state. We're gonna start simple by first inlining everything and then seeing what we can factor out into the particle system. Or let's see, particle system. Let's give this guy a texture. So where do I call this? Make particle system right there. So we're gonna start off by loading this this texture. Right, and then when rendering the particles, we're gonna just set that texture and see how it looks. Platform services. Right, we did load the texture in, but it's being rendered squashed because we're not using any texture coordinates. Let's see. It's 9 by 9 pixels for each frame. Yeah, 9 by 9. And then we need to scale that by the width and height of the whole texture, which is 39 by 9. Do I have a scale function for rectangles? I do, okay, good. Let's see. Push quads. We need to use this version, rectangle, Z being 0, and then the texture coordinates. Alright, let's see. Hard to see. Let me position the camera right here and then see. Yeah, this is looking like the first frame, so that's correct. The texture seems to be small. That's because, yeah, the particle itself is small. We're gonna try and make this bigger. Let's try this. Okay, now it's the original size. Good. We are spawning way too many particles. So that's one other thing we need to fix. But before we do that, let's make this animated. For that we need a new state for the particle. Texture ID frame. If I do it like this, that might not be that smart. Let's try it like this. I'm gonna make the frame be dependent on how long the particle has been alive for. So the animation has 4 frames. And we go let's see, let me rewrite this first. Alright, so we advance by 10 pixels for each frame. And the width and height are 9 by 9. Right, the texture is the same for each particle. Instead, we are gonna change which texture coordinate we're gonna use. By using this value. You're lerping between 0 and 3. Actually 4, but then if I do 3, that's not gonna work out that well, because 3 will only be achieved when t is 1. So instead, we're gonna clamp this value between 0 and 3. Yeah. Now the particles should be right. Conversion from float to int. Oh, my lerping function is wrong. Let me fix it later. Okay, let's see if our particles are animated. They're moving backwards though. So they're moving from 3 to 0 instead of from 0 to 3, which means we need to invert the t value. And then we are gonna make the particles not live as long. So they're living for a whole second. Let's make that a third of that. Okay, it's looking nice if only a couple of them get spawned. But if I'm sliding along, it's we're spawning way too many particles and it's not looking as nice. So I need to limit how many particles get spawned. And then we're gonna clean up how this part of the code works, since it's hard-coded everything. And this also. I need to formalize how particle systems get generated. So to limit how many we spawn, we need a timer. So there are two choices. I could formalize the particle emitter. I could do something like this that has a timer in it, and the count, the particle count, it's gonna emit each time this timer runs to 0, and then an interval, and then whenever we call emit particles, I would then pass in an emitter and a delta time. So that would be one way to do it. The other would be I just pass in an emitter ID and the emitters are global. That would make it easier to spawn particles from random parts of the code. So I don't need to pass in emitters all the time. And these emitter IDs could be also in global enum. Something like this. Is this better? I'm gonna do it this way for now, and then see if that is a good idea or not. So let's say every 10 frames we spawn a new one. Okay, first of all, we need to check if the timer is ready to fire. And then we generate the particle. Then we need a new function that advances the timer of the emitters. Interval. We can either subtract or we can just set it to 0. I think this is more correct. Right, let's see. We're not spawning any particles anymore. Okay, let's see. This part right here is wrong. The problem is the emitter is always active even though it's not emitting currently now. Still, it's weird that we're not emitting particles at all. So the timer does increase. This check never is true because we make sure that it won't fire. Instead, alright. So every 10 frames is a little slow. Let's say 5. This is looking better. Let's disable the alpha. This part. Oh, now they're black, yeah. Okay, let's see. Because the particle emitters are on a global timer, sometimes when I'm jumping off, I'm not generating any dust particles. Yeah, right there. So maybe I don't want the emitters to be on a global timer then. Also, the timing is still... Let's see. Think... Are they too close or too far apart? I can't tell. Let's make them closer. Every 8 frames. So now they're further apart. Doesn't look that nice. I think this is okay. So the next problem is the global timer. Okay, so let's remove the timing code here. Yeah. So timing code shouldn't be part of the emitter. So instead, a collidable component is gonna keep track of the time. So let's see. Now we should be generating particles every frame. Yeah, that's way too many. And now we're gonna use the timer that I just introduced to make it different. Where did I do emit particles? Right here. Also, it's not part of this code, so okay, let's not put it in here then. Countdown timer, what does it return? Yeah, then we reset it to 6 again and emit particles. Okay, then the next thing is we need to set this to 0 whenever we are not wall sliding. So the next time we wall slide, we will immediately generate a particle. So now it shouldn't be possible for me to wall jump without generating a dust particle, and indeed that seems to be the case. Okay, I want to re-enable the alpha blending, but a little bit differently. Instead of alpha blending the whole way through like this, which doesn't look very nice, I just want to alpha blend as it appears and as it disappears. Remap T 01. Okay, so we remap this range to the range 0 to 1. Then if t is bigger than 0.9, we then map it from 1 to 0. Okay, now the last couple of frames are alpha blended of the particles, and also their first couple of frames, as you can see. So by increasing these values, I can make the effect more pronounced. Oops. Oh, before it was better. Alright. So for the next problem of these, to get rid of the hard-coded texture coordinates, actually I probably want to keep these particle effects in a separate atlas, and in that case, since all particle effects are in a single texture, I can keep them hard-coded, and the particles, well, kinda hard-coded. I'm gonna store the texture coordinates in an array, and the particles are gonna store an index into that array to get to know which texture collection to use, or a collection of frames to animate over. That seems like a good idea. Currently, we're gonna just assume you're gonna assume that we're always using this particular texture. and as long as we don't have that lookup table and the texture atlas, you're just gonna assume that the particle is using the dust texture, which is currently always true. Yeah, I think that is the best way to do this. Okay, the next thing I want to do is when landing, I want to also emit particles. So whenever we land, I want to have 2 dust particles to either side. We're gonna do that by having a new particle emitter and a new IDE, landing dust. So we're gonna generate 2 particles. Okay, so if they are gonna move to either side though, I need a way to set the x velocity in a particular way. So emit particles is gonna return the particles that were emitted. So I can manipulate them. This kinda defeats the purpose, but well, not necessarily, since I know when to emit those specific particles, in which case I can also manipulate them. Here, landing particles. So if you just landed, which means the spatial state timer is 0, you're gonna emit particles. plus dx equals -1. Oops, they're kind of slow still. Maybe I want them to disappear quicker. So they shouldn't be alive for 20 frames instead just for 10 frames. Particles. I think that's fine. I just had an idea to not have to do this one. I can give the particle emitter a couple of flags. Just for the x coordinate. And if I need different behaviors along the way, I can then adjust these flags. So this part over here would go away. Then over here, I basically do this, and then I forgot something. I need to set the X movement. So this will ensure that one particle goes to the left and the other goes to the right. And both go to the right. I guess this never triggers. Texture ID. Then the flags. Oh, I didn't set this or anything. Of course. Alright, there it is. I guess the part of the particle system is done for now. Yeah, this looks fine, I think. So next part, one of the animations that I'm missing are the animations where the player is shooting. Even though they are present in the voxels, I think. Let me check. Yeah. So the shooting animations are present, but currently I can't shoot. So I guess we're gonna implement shooting next. Let's rename this to particle emit timer, since that's what it's used for. And so for shooting, I need what do I need for that? I have the spatial state. I could add a control state that tells me what the player is currently doing, like if he is shooting or not. Or I could just say shooting. But the shooting animation is active for a couple of frames, even though the player isn't shooting. So instead of this being a boolean, it's more like it's a timer. So let's say whenever I shoot, the animation is supposed to be active for 3 frames. So I need to count down this timer instead. So yeah, let's keep that as the timer. So in here, this is where I process the inputs for each player that, or for each entity that accepts inputs. And I need a new key for shooting. Let's see, is spatial state wall jumpable? What is this? Right, I will add a dummy function here, which says is entity in shootable state, in a state where it can shoot, can entity shoot. We're gonna call it this. And for now I'm just gonna return true, but later on this check can get a little bit more complicated. Let's say the shooting animation lasts for 3 frames. And then when I process collidable, to do rename function since collidable component does way more than colliding. This component is more like what I call collidable currently is more like entities that behave like the player. And then if you just process the timer. So this will count down the timer. Oh, I don't check inputs here. Is key pressed? Let's use the spacebar. Okay. Let's see if this is working. Debug print. What am I doing? I'm outputting way too many things here. Okay. The first two here are the moving platforms. They also have a shooting field, so that's why there are a couple more than, there's more than one. And the reason why it was flickering is because I didn't print this out only at frame boundaries. I guess I should do it like this. Yep, it's working. And then basically whenever we are shooting, I want to switch which animations to display. So this function here is gonna get a little bit more complicated depending on whether we are shooting or not. Yeah. So the landing animation should only be displayed if you're not shooting, because shooting has precedence over landing animations. Then the turning animations, same thing with the turning animation. We don't care about the turning animation if you're shooting. We need to be able to see whether we're shooting or not. And over here we go shooting, so we need to switch over the shooting variants. Yeah, let's see. Wait, did I remove the debug output? Yeah. Let's. Okay, shooting still works, but we're not switching over the animation. So is this never true, or what's going on there? Okay, let's break. So this should be true. It is. Oh, I forgot to switch over the idle animation. That's why. Let's see. Shooting. Okay, 3 frames are way too quick. Let's increase those. let's say 30 frames just to see. Yeah, 30 frames are too long. But the shooting persists whether we are doing anything or not. And yeah, the landing animations are skipped if you are shooting. Otherwise, the landing animation displays. I don't know, 30 frames might not be that long actually. So if the player was spawning a projectile here, whoops. Okay, I think this is kind of looking nice. I'm gonna take a short break, 2 minutes or 5. See ya in a little bit. Alright, I'm back. Got a fresh cup of coffee now. Yeah, shooting this is working. So I guess the next step is actually shoot out particles, or I mean projectiles. So for that, let's draw let's draw the projectile. Something simple. "16 by 16 is way too big, isn't it?" "6 by 6. I'm gonna make this look better when I need it to. For now, projectile. Let's load the projectile. Game state. Okay. So again, I'm gonna do the shooting inline first and then see what exactly I'm doing and then refactor later. So this over here, now that we know what we are doing, I should refactor this out. Yeah, I'm going to do that later. For now, if you're gonna look over all the entities, so if the entity is shooting checking the timer isn't that useful. I need to know whether this is the frame where the input was issued. Well, for now I can cheat. I don't have a good idea of how to react to shooting. I could maybe inline it here. I don't know if that's a good idea or not, because I want the AI to issue shooting also, but I don't want it to simulate key presses. I'm gonna think about AI when I get to it, I guess. So for now. Yeah, these philosophical questions, very important when coding. So if this is the case, this should only be the case for a single frame. We are gonna generate particle, a projectile. Why do I keep saying particle? For that, we're gonna treat each projectile as an entity itself. So I'm gonna create a new entity. Handle manager. Where is that? It's this guy. So add entity. Once we have that, we can add a collidable component. Add collidable component. Takes the collidable system, projectile ID, and it's not a dynamic collidable, so dynamic's false. Dynamic means if it can push other collidables around, like a moving platform. Projectile. This is dependent on the phase direction of the entity. So if it's facing left, it's kind of looking ugly, but it's fine. So what else? Collidable component. The position should be where the projectile emitting position of the sprite is, which I don't keep track currently. Let me see. So I need the positions of the gun, basically. I don't have that currently. Should think about that. For now, I'm just gonna offset the player position by 7 and 14. Entry position plus correctly. Let's see, voxel collection. Let me add a to-do there too. To-do include more meta information like gun position. Okay. So collidable component. What else should we set? The axis aligned bounding box. I forget how big was the projectile. It's 6 by 6. So gravity modifier is 0. I don't want the projectiles to be I don't want them to be to fall to the ground. Bounce modifier. Let's make them reflect off of walls. Air friction coefficient. Wall slide, I don't need that because the projectile isn't ground based. I need to set the movement type. Projectile movement. Let's see. Movement can either be straight or grounded straight. So it's gonna move in a straight line. And the response is bounce. Do I need any flags? What are flags for? Do I use flags? Oh, there. Wall jump, dynamic. Oh, this is not something I set. Projectile. I think this is fine. Do I need anything else? Don't think so. Okay. Conversion from into float. I should be this should be working, but the projectiles are gonna look like the player, or maybe not. No, it's not triggering. I know why it's not triggering, because we already decrement the timer before we get to this place. And that is why I should do this differently. This check. Okay, maybe I do want this to be in the control. I want this to be in here where we set the shooting timer. That's the most natural position for this to land. Since this control system, it's actually not really processing the controls for anything. It's processing controls for the players. So it's natural for it to know how to, I guess, emit projectiles. And to be able to do that, this needs a game state. Okay, so let's put this part in here. I should put this into shoot projectile function at some point, because depending on what upgrades the player has, I want to generate different projectiles in the future. Let's see, game state. Okay, fair enough. From game set to, oh, okay. Yeah, as I said, the projectiles are looking like the player, because well, I guess they can at least bounce off of walls. Whoops. Oh, so this can be null. I should check. For the return, and else we can set this to 0 again, since we can't shoot. So we just so there is a upper limit to how many entities can be active currently. I think it's 10. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are currently only 8. Let's see, make a collidable system. Max entities should be 10. Am I missing something? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Why can't I shoot? It says it has 10 entries. Wait, why doesn't this show up as an array? Initialize array view. There it is. Idle system. That's weird. Let's see how often I call add entity. Once, twice, three times. Yeah, there are 3 entities. 4, 5. Oh, so per press I am generating 2 projectiles. Where am I? Oh, there. Yeah, there are actually 2 projectiles on top of each other because I can't see Z fighting. Let's see. It's kinda hard to see, but it's on the edges. Okay, what did I do wrong? Process control system. Why is this triggering twice? Oh yeah, because I need to do this on the frame boundaries, not whenever. Which means I should be buffering the key press. Control system. That's a side effect of how I'm doing frame rate independent movement. On some frames I'm calling the game loop twice, and that's why I sometimes spawned 2 projectiles. To not do that, I need to check whether I'm on a frame boundary, but if I want to react to key presses on the frame boundary, I need to do input buffering. So the pressed input is valid for more than the frame I actually pressed it. And then I clear the input buffer since I consumed it. Okay, let's make sure that I only trigger this once. So I'm gonna go frame by frame and I shoot. And it only triggers once. And then again because of the breakpoint, I hope. Actually, let's I'm gonna print how many entities are active. Game variable comp system. And whoops, same problem, frame boundary. So on some frames I was printing a double. Okay, active entities are 3, and per space press it's incrementing by 1, which is the correct behavior, and now I can actually have 10 active entities. Active entities are 10, okay, good. So next, let's give the projectile a better texture. Actually, I should use I should be using a voxel mesh for the projectile. It shouldn't be a flat texture. Okay, so let's create the voxel map. First I need the texture map. Where's the projectile? Oh, there it is. all of these are gonna have the same source. And the offset is 3,3. Wait, why is this 4? Oh, I scaled too far, okay. Yeah, it's centered now. Alright, this seems to be fine. Okay. I need to clean this up a little bit. So the left side of this voxel should take the texture from the front. And the top also. Actually, let's just make it like this. This side should be white. Alright, this is fine, I guess. Well, how does it look? It's okay. Assign to current. Save. Did it work? Yeah, okay. Then in game, instead of loading the texture, we need to load the voxel collection. Okay, and then component type for rendering, I think. Because currently I can't distinguish the the entities, and that's why everything is just rendered as if it was a player. So I want some entities to be rendered differently than others. Okay. Before I think about this too deeply, I don't know how to do that efficiently yet, so I'm just gonna do something maybe stupid. I'm just gonna add a new field to the collidable component that tells me how to render it. And then down here, where is it? Render player. I can change this to render entities. Then switch on the render type. I guess this part can stay the same. I just need to know what frame to use. Voxel collection, frame, current frame, no. So in case it's a hero, I do this. In case it's projectile, embedded default case. And the same, I think the rest is the same. Projectile, process, control system, and here I need to mark these projectiles to use a different render type. Projectile, render type. Okay, they are using the correct model, but they're not using the correct texture. Let's see, where do I set the texture? Wait, the texture mapping is wrong. Didn't I change these? Didn't I change these faces to be yellow? I thought I did. Yeah, here they are yellow. Was I looking at the back side? Let's see, does this fix it? Assign, save. Yeah, so I was looking at the back side. Why was I looking at the back side? Oh, because I'm facing the left and I'm rotating. Yeah, I'm rotating the models based on whether I'm looking to the left or to the right. That's how I achieve the player looking to the left, how I am mirroring the model of the player. So that's why the backside of the projectile was visible. And another issue is I don't like how the left side of the projectile is yellow in certain places. So the left side is gonna be white. Except here it doesn't work. Same with the top. Oops. Here the back side needs to be the front. No. Left. Oh no, this is, what am I doing? Sorry. This was correct. So the bottom is gonna be like this. Okay, I need an indicator for the voxel editor of which side is which, because now I'm totally confused as to which side is the front of the voxel. Okay, this is the front because I'm already done with this side. So this is the left face. The bottom needs to be set here. And the left. Wait, the bottom is wrong here. Like this. Here the right needs to be the front. The bottom left. Left doesn't work. Right? There it is. This is the front, this is correct. So the missing sides are these. At the right, top needs to be white also. Here the front. Alright, only this side. This is the right face. Okay, I think that's done. Sign safe. Let's test it. Yeah, now it's correct. It's white from everywhere except the front and back are yellow. Now I need a way to react to collisions, since I don't want projectiles to just go back and forth forever. And afterwards I also need a system for hit detection. So to register hits against enemies, when I shoot them, I want to be able to react to the hit. So first, I'm gonna make them disappear once they collide against something. Which means I need to react to collisions. I could do callbacks, but I don't like callbacks that much. The other way would be, since I don't need the specifics of the collision, I could just store the last collision in the collidable component and then react that way, which is fine for this case, but I can't do any complicated things with that. So I don't want to complicate the system before I need to do complicated things, so for now that should be fine to just store the last collision. It's self-explanatory, I don't need to comment this. So then, when I actually do collision detection, let's see, down here, here's the response. If collision entry last collision equals collision, yeah, and then before this loop I set the collision to, I clear the collision. Otherwise, the last collision will always be set, even though it's already resolved. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Then I'm gonna do something. Entity behaviors to do, move this into a separate component. gonna do it inline again. Actually, static entries. I don't need to loop over the dynamic entries, which are the moving platforms. So if entry render type, so I first need to test out whether my idea works out before I complicate it. Render type projectile, if entry less collision, this will return true if there was a collision, and if this is true, we remove the entity. And now we have the first problem. I don't have a way to remove entities currently. So we're gonna do it inline. I'm gonna write to lambda and then make that into a function. So what do I need here? I need the handle collidable component. It's called entity. So this remove entity function would need to go over all the component systems and then remove the entries that belong to this entity handle, which means I need the game state. So game and entity handle. Okay, I actually need a function here. Again. Then a helper function. Remove if. Do I have a remove if? Remove if. I have an unordered remove if. Is unordered okay? Find and erase. Unordered remove isn't okay for collidable systems. Okay, we're gonna write it inline then. I'm gonna write overloads for all the systems. Compatible system. This way, the generic cases I can handle via a template, and the specific cases I can overload. Game, control system, handle, then game, collidable system, handle. The control system, in this case I can call unordered erase if, remove if, system. Let's see, it just needs a container and the predicate. What did I get here? Okay, this is the templated case. Generic system. Type def value type is I do that. Missing type specifier, I can't do that. Type name. Const decal type. Wait. I'm too stupid to figure out how to do this, so I'm gonna write a helper for now. Class predicate. And then I can do this easily, because in that case this is type name, container, value type, or just reference. Yeah, now it compiles. Okay, in this case, the collidable system can't use unordered remove if. So I need to write it myself. I could use remove if. So let's write a remove if. Let's copy this. Remove if, instead of using unordered erase, it's using erase. So that's the only difference. Okay, remove entity. So if I do this, this should work, except that I am removing entities while looping over it, over an array of entities. So this will invalidate this iterator, and I'm in a world of hurt. So I guess instead of doing it like this, well, this part of the code is okay, but this part is not. I need a queue, a removal queue, so that I can remove things in a loop while still being able to loop over the thing. Right. Let's initialize the queue. And then this thing here needs to, so I'm gonna rename this to be process entity removal queue. Then we're gonna rewrite this function here. This will just queue up the removal. We're gonna use append unique game entity removal queue, and we'll stud find. Don't use stud find. Don't I have a find here? Find, there it is. Oh, I don't. if first equals well, return first, return last, plus plus first. That's find, and then I should probably have a find if. Don't I have find if? I have this version. Right, find if. Wait, pretty much the same thing. Okay. So now append unique. What does it do? Append unique. Yeah, that's correct. The correct usage of append unique. And with that, process entity removal queue game doesn't need the handle anymore. For handle game entity removal queue, instead we do this now, and then we clear it. Alright, that was a lot of code. Let's see that hopefully it doesn't crash. Hey, it disappeared. And we... because I pressed spacebar, I didn't see what that was about. What is this? Oh yeah, I'm not readjusting the entries count. That is down here. So I can't use a remove if helper. For it equals system entries begin. So in this case, we do this one and then we continue. But if it dynamic, if the entry is not dynamic, I need to decrement the entries count. Collidable system. Yeah, I'm looping over this, but I also have to readjust this counter if I delete a static entry, which is this one. In case I erase something, I don't want to increment the iterator, and I need to readjust the end pointer. Collidable component. Yeah, this should work. And hopefully no more assertions. Right, nice. So the spawn position is off here. What's up with that? It doesn't map the gun position. What did I do there? Gun position. I'm taking the player position and adding 714 to it. And somehow that ends up being the feet of the player. Oh, I think the player origin is down here actually. Is it? No, it's not. Let me check. Where do I add the player? Here. Top. No, it's the origin is at the head. So the origin should be this position here. In the middle and at the top. The height of the bounding box is 24. So to get to the gun position, I need to move to the right and 14 down. So this is the origin. I move let's look at the standing position. This one. Right, I need to move 6 to the right and 14 down. 6. Why are you using C++ 11, 14, 17 instead of C99? Because C++ is more convenient than C99. I can use templates whenever I want to, which I can't in C99. And for each loops, range-based for loops. It's an auto, which doesn't exist in C99. Triggered. Sorry. Okay, what's the problem? What's your problem, projectile? Okay, let me not adjust the player position. Now it's at the head. So I guess the projectile isn't centered correctly. It should spawn up here, but it's spawning Place that. Render entities. I am offsetting the position correctly. Did I not save the offset? Offset 3 minus... Should this be negative? No. This should be positive. I am doing minus offset, which means I want... I need to visualize this. So this is a coordinate system, x, y. So if I don't offset the projectile, it's gonna be like this. So I want this to move 3 to the left and 3 upwards. Up means in minus y direction. So the offset is 3. If I do minus, I'm gonna move it 3 to the left and 3 up. So I am actually rendering this offset wrong. It should be, the positive offset should look like this. Instead it says the offset is negative here. Okay, let me check if my theory is correct by saving. It's kinda centered. Or is it? Yeah, this is looking better. Okay, so now if I adjust this, the projectiles should be spawning at the gun position. Kinda. I think I'm somewhere off by 1. So maybe this was correct. Yeah, this is correct. The previous offset was correct. Except the scan position needs to be some dynamic value, so this to do should be resolved at some point. So if you are facing left, this offset needs to be negative. Why is -6 not correct? The projectile is 6 by 6, right? Yeah. 6 by 6, so the center is 3, 3. So if this is mirrored, it's still 614, so minus 6 should be correct. This is also spawning too far right. Yeah, the center should be aligned to this red position. It's off by exactly 3, it seems. Before I did this, it was looking fine, wasn't it? No, it wasn't. Did I just somehow clear the position, the offset? Let me check. We're gonna break here. So the offset should be 3, 3. It's correct. The offset is correct. So the position is 13 minus 10. Minus 10? There's something wrong with the position here. Oh no, it's correct, minus 10. I'm above the grid. Yeah, the offsets aren't the problem. So let me remove the where is it? This line. So I don't want to remove the projectiles anymore, and see how it looks if it's intersecting with the wall. So it didn't move into the wall. Wait, that's the correct behavior. So does it move into the wall? It's, I need to change this hotkey. I'm using control to trigger the hotkey, but control is also moving the camera down. Control. This one. Space. I don't know. Down. Interesting. The projectiles can be moved around by moving platforms. That's interesting. Yeah. Let's see. Where am I? Oh, there it is. It's moving into the tile, so something is off. So on the left side, it's not moving into the tile. So this thing's collision box let's see. This thing's collision box is right here. It's to the left by 3 pixels or 3 voxels. Why is that? It should be relative to the origin. The origin should be at the center of this thing. So let's see. Yeah, the bounding box of the projectile is -3, -3, 3, 3. Which means if this was the origin, the bounding box looks like this. So it goes -3 to the left and up for the left position, left top and right bottom. And the voxel, the mesh is supposed to line up with this bounding box by me doing by subtracting the offset of the mesh from the position. So this is the position. If I didn't do offsetting, the voxel mesh would be here. And since I'm moving the voxel mesh to the left and up by 3, both the bounding box and the voxel mesh should line up, but they don't. Right. Why am I doing this? I forget. Oh, that's why. Why is this happening? I think I have a bug in my editor where I set these offsets and I didn't figure it out until now. So the player bounding box is over here. What? I should maybe render the bounding boxes. Debug collision boxes. Right. Collision view collision whoops boxes. That didn't do anything. Blue player position. Why did I do this? So, vault game to screen. Translate entry AB, entry position, push quad screen rect. Yeah, should have been just this. It's fine. There are the collision boxes. So, okay, the player collision box isn't correctly lined up. Let's see, view collision boxes. So what about the projectiles are completely off. Let's keep this here. And then render entities. Huh? Oh, isn't this doing anything to the player? Okay, the projectile. It's hard to tell whether they are lined up because the bounding box is behind them. Let me render the bounding box actually as a box instead of a quad. Where was it? Here. Left. So near is 0. Far is 16. Let's try this. So these things should be 3D now. Yeah, they are. still hard to tell. Why are the projectile Z coordinate is wrong? Let's make this 32 then. Alright, let's see. Now the projectiles are completely aligned to the bounding box because now I can't see any white. So that's actually correct. Now for the player, the player isn't aligned to its bounding box. And I think that's because I set up the player offsets incorrectly. Yeah, I did. So this thing should be centered like this. Not sure, should it be like this? Or like this? Need to try that out to be sure. Should be like this, or no, this is correct. I think now the offset should be correct. Okay. Something wrong with how I'm applying the offsets though. Yeah. Right, when facing right, the bounding box is okay. I'm not allowed to disable depth testing. If I disable depth testing, I can't see intersections, but if I do it this way, oh no, it's fine, okay. Oops. What's up with this bounding box? Something's wrong. Left. It's inverted, isn't it? Yeah. Also, the top and bottom are inverted. This doesn't make sense. Left and right is also inverted. Axis AAB. Do I have one that takes a rect? can't see the top from the top, so it's inverted. If I do this, I can't see the left and right anymore, so this is also inverted. So maybe only, I think I know what the problem is. These weren't the problem. Alright, I think I fixed the rendering now. Yeah, this is what I expected. So the bounding box isn't encompassing the voxel grid completely. Some of the mesh is outside the bounding box, which is actually what I want, because let's see. Yeah, I want these to go over tiles like this, so this is the right behavior. So the offset when facing right is correct, but when facing left, the offset is completely off. So when facing left, which is this part, I'm doing something really weird. Right, did we do it? This looks okay. And to the left. Yeah, both sides seem fine. Let's inspect it visually. Yeah, 2 voxels are to the left of the collision box, and also 1 voxel of the hair, and to the right the same. Good. So the projectiles, are they okay? Yeah, they seem okay now. Okay, I think the offset issue is now fixed. Although the wall sliding is incorrect now, because I'm inside the wall when I slide. So the offsets are wrong for the wall sliding case. Now it's perfect, I think. Is it? Yeah, it's perfect now. Although when I'm shooting, the offset is messed up again because I didn't do the wall slide when shooting. Wall slide. Okay, I think finally the offset issue is fixed. One last thing is when process control system, when I'm shooting, yeah, I uncommented this part of the code that needs to be in there again. Yeah, now both shooting to the left and right looked natural. Oops. Let's see. Remove entity. Let's put it in again. This can go away. Okay, good. I'm gonna take a short bathroom break, and then afterwards we're gonna do more of the same. See you in 5 minutes. Alright, I'm back. Okay, where was I? Okay. How does this look? Alright, what else do I want to do? Particles when jumping. I have particles when landing. Do I want jump particles? I don't know. I don't think so. So this to do is, I think, now done. Shooting, I kinda implemented. Hit detection. It's kinda too early for that. Shooting. Screen shake, health. I'm gonna factor I'm gonna clean up the projectile code. It's gonna look like this, and then this should return a boolean whether projectile was emitted, and I can do if not emit projectile game gun position. Then I do this, and this here goes into this function now. I like this more, so the speed I only have to enter once this way. Yeah. So emit projectile to do emit different types of projectile based on upgrades. We don't have upgrades yet. This must return a value, return true, return false. Nothing should have changed. Good. Let's increase the velocity. Is this too fast? Kinda is. This seems fine. Sometimes when I press he doesn't shoot, I think. There, he didn't shoot. Why didn't he shoot? Alright, down here I can see which button I pressed, and up here I know which frame I'm displaying. I just recorded my inputs and I'm replaying them. Let's see. I think in a second I'm gonna press space button again and no projectile will spawn. $262. Yeah, I pressed, nothing happens. 262. Right, let's see. Alright, I'm setting, so I'm detecting the spacebar as pressed. I'm setting the input buffer. Frame boundary is false, but the buffer is set. Right. Then next frame, the input buffer is still set. Frame boundary is still false. And then I might never hit there. The frame boundary is true, but the input buffer is now gone. So the input buffer doesn't last long enough for me to hit the frame boundary. It should, because I'm setting it to 1. It should be 1 frame. But it, yeah, of course, I'm decreasing the input buffer before I'm checking it. So of course, this is the frame where I'm hitting the frame boundary. But I already decremented the input buffer. So these should be after I process them. I should decrement them after I process them. Okay, and I shouldn't have closed the game. Now I can't verify that the bug is gone. Okay, so record. Oh, every time I press the spacebar, a projectile spawns. Alright, I think I fixed the problem. The bug is gone. Yeah, seems like it's gone. I'm already doing input buffering. Well, I'm not for jumping, I guess. Alright. This should be 20 frames, I think. Let me check. Yeah, 20 frames seems fine. Hit detection, I don't have anything to hit yet. Screen shake, don't wanna. Health. Kinda useless without hit detection. Different entity types. Can't do this yet. I could start working on the upgrades. Alright, I think I'm gonna start with these next time. I'm kinda tired, so that's it for me today. Thanks for watching, everyone. Don't forget to follow and subscribe. This project is open source, so if you're interested in the source code, look in the description below. And yeah, thanks for watching and see you next time.